What's the nastiest thing you've ever done? I accidentally shit my pants outside at some after school program at my school. I decided instead of going inside it'd be better to hide in the tube slide. Take the shit out of my pants and bury it in the sandbox. Was caught in traffic and a construction zone a mile from the truck stop. Had really bad diarrhea in the median between the concrete wall and my truck. Straight down my legs while standing. Changed clothes on the catwalk and between the truck and trailer. Oncoming traffic saw it all. Edit. Fantastic. Top comment going to be my most embarrassing and physically painful experiences. Thank you all for kind awards and responses though. My ex had a golf ball sized cyst on her shoulder. I tried to extract it and it squirted forcefully. A little right into my mouth. I immediately threw up on her leg and cat who chose the absolute worst time to affectionately cuddle her leg. Threw up in my pants in the bathroom of the bar and continued drinking. Had to pick through my shit with gloves trying to find a push pin I'd swallowed some days prior. I dropped a sandwich on the floor at work and it was covered in sawdust. I was feeling really sad, so I just ate it and didn't care at all. Edit. Thanks everyone for all the kind comments. You all made my day. I chugged a bottle of maple syrup like in Super Troopers. Drinking syrup is kind of gross. The nastiest parts were the stomach pains and aggressive farts that happened hours later due to the amount of sugar. My buddy was near the bathroom when I was letting them out, and he said it sounded like Little Round Top. Undressing and showering my father because he had gotten blackout drunk and shit himself. When I was about 8, I wanted to see what happened if I took off my pants and ran down the hill while peeing. Such a bad idea. In the 7th grade, I was really sick and I couldn't shit for a long time. The first time I did shit, my anus prolapsed. That's bad enough, especially for a 12-year-old girl. What happened next was a goddamn symphony of error. After telling my parents what happened behind the bathroom door, the ambulance lady came in while I was still on the toilet. After she convinced me it was okay and I wasn't gonna die like Elvis, she carried me out to there and set me on the gurney. My neighbors watched me getting wheeled away and they came up to ask my parents what happened. Before my parents could give a tactful answer, my brother loudly announced I broke my butt. He was 5 and I don't blame him. But of course, that nugget of wisdom spread around town and I got so bullied in middle school. I went to a private high school in the next town over. Edit. I realize now my brother was 7 at the time, not 5. He's 18 now. Graduating high school this year. Holy shit everyone. Thanks for all the upvotes. This really made my night. Edit 2. I shouldn't have to say. Do not ask me for pictures of my prolapsed rectum. It happened when I was a child. And what you guys are asking for is child porn. No. One morning I was getting ready for work. Still naked from just waking up and not feeling too good either. I made the mistake of trusting a fart and small bit of liquid hit the floor. I tried to run to the counter to grab paper towels, but before I could react my dog was already lapping it up. A GF cheated on me with her ex. She had a VHS she was really proud of. Her talking to Hillary and Bill Clinton. I switched the tape with a Peter North 101 massive cum shots video. Switched the label and put it back on her shelf. I ate too much food before going to school when I was a kid. 2nd grade, without knowing it's spoiled already. My stomach started to feel upset, but I trusted my guts. Then I *T myself in the middle of the class. It was so embarrassing. I was sitting, and the smell started roaming around the room. Pissed myself while I was really drunk, and couldn't admit it, so poured my alcohol on myself to make it seem like I'd somehow gotten a bunch of liquid spilled on me. Since I was in a club, that plan wasn't working. As you can imagine, you can't just acquire that much alcohol for free and quickly. So I ended up trying to get into a sink in the bathroom and ended up getting taken away in an ambulance due to slipping. That sounds a lot less funny when I say it like that actually. A McDonald's Filet-O-Fish with 15 extra tartar sauce. Jerked off in a porta shitter in Iraq during the summer around 3 PM. Damn, I sweated my ass off. When I was about 4 years old, I was at a video rental store and shook out a little nugget of a turd that fell down my pant leg and was left by the video games. I shat my pants 12 times in a single day. Was 7 at the time, and I kept jumping around while having diarrhea. Extremely disgusting. Edit. Sorry for the exaggeration. People got confused. I actually only shat my pants 5 times that day. Shit my pants on a third date. Was crawling into bed for sexy time in her dorm. Didn't realize I was food poisoned, but tried to make it to the bathroom down the hall. Ended up leaned against the wall, holding my gut. Shitting all in my pants down into the socks was how much I shat myself. Edit. For people asking for part 2. By some grace of God, I had left her room wrapped in a blanket cause I had a legendary boner before my stomach became a poison sinkhole. So I waddled into the bathroom, trashed all the clothes I was wearing below the waist, and proceeded to empty my entire body into the toilet. So I came back to her dorm room, huddled under the blanket, and was largely incapacitated for the next day. She made me food for the next 24 hours, and helped me get clothes. Now she is wife. So, advice boys. Make sure to shit yourself to trigger the latent caring instincts of any potential partner. Stepped on a cockroach barefoot. Pushing my abdomen back together because the sutures came undone and I could see my insides. I shat on the floor of a public bathroom stall and sprayed it with Febreze until the bottle ran out and then kicked it across the floor and left the streak of shit all over the place. I was about 8 years old. Edit. Holy cow. 549 upvotes lol. This is my first comment to reach over 100 votes. Thanks guys. I pissed my pants behind the water fountain at school in like 4th grade because I was afraid of the mean girls in the bathroom. I guess when I was young, my oldest sister would sleep in my older sister and my's room, but we had bunk beds, so my oldest sister had to share the bottom bunk with me. I wet the bed in the middle of the night and was too ashamed to wake up my oldest sister. So I shoved towels up against her body. She didn't wake up while I was doing this or when I peed, but she wasn't dry the next morning. But the grossest thing that's happened to me is my older sister and I used to share a bed, and she got sick one morning and threw up in my face. She was little and crying BC she puked and was gross and scared. I was even younger and thought I had soap in my eyes. I was once sick and had really bad phlegm and kept needing to spit it out for days. I got tired of having to get up, so I put a big Halloween candy-sized bowl next to my bed that I could spit into. One morning I forgot it was there and stepped into it barefooted. Not really my fault, but in 2nd grade I got a stomach bug, and my parents didn't want to answer the phone, so the stupid nurse sent me back to class. We were at PE at the time, and I got horribly sick again. Just as I finished throwing up, a kid had kicked a kickball. The sound it made as it slid through my vom is still with me to this day. Accidentally swallowed the crown on my front tooth after it came loose while I was eating taffy. I had the runs the next day and managed to shit it out while at work. I heard a clink in the toilet and I just knew. However, our toilets at work are automatic/use a motion sensor. I was terrified that I was going to move too quickly and make it flush. So I slowly crept off of the toilet and onto the bathroom floor, my arsehole out in the open, covered in liquid turd, and crawled over to a box of latex gloves that we had in the bathroom. I somehow managed to avoid making the toilet flush, picked the crown out from the toilet, and called my dentist. He ran the crown through the sterilizer and put that $1,400 bad boy right back into my mouth. I have no regrets. I was dating this girl for a week or so. We met on a dating app. She was nice but quiet and really liked to fuck. The 24-year-old male, I couldn't complain as she was pretty attractive. She had me staying the night at her mom's house. I awoke to her saying, "Kyle, I'm in the closet." I woke up and she was diarrhea shitting in the closet all over the Berber white carpet. I don't know what to say as we hadn't been dating long and didn't know much about her. Her mom woke up and shrieked and said, "Why did you shit in the closet?" with her hands over her mouth. That's when the smell hits me like a freight train filled with dead bodies. It was so strong it made my eyes water. I could taste it. I'm standing there and her mom is like trying to scrub it out of the carpet in this rented house and I'm helping. But it's only activated the stench more. By now there was a 2-foot brown reeking circle in this closet. We scrub and scrub until the closet is just tan. And I can't bear any more and run out of the room heaving. The girl had left the room at this point and flopped onto living room fabric couch covered in shit and proceeded to fall asleep. I didn't know what to do at this point, so I shook her awake and helped my shit covered girlfriend get into the shower. Apparently, according to her mother, she had been taking laxatives as she had been worried about her weight. I almost bolted that night as this was a lot of unpleasantness for one night, but I stuck with it a bit longer. A night or two later she had me eat dinner with her mom and she, my GF, came to the dinner table completely naked and ate dinner with us like that. I wasn't like complaining or anything, it was just weird as hell and super awkward as the mom wasn't addressing it. Later I was informed that she had some brain damage as a result of a fall. Things were starting to make sense. I left the house that night and as the night owl I stayed up till 4 to 5 am and then went to bed. My phone was on silent. I woke up at 3 PM that afternoon and she had broke up with me because I wasn't answering my phone. TL, doctor, met a girl online, we dated a bit. She turned a Berber carpeted closed brown with diarrhea and a couch and then ate dinner with her mom and I while she was completely naked. Then she broke up with me because I was asleep too long. In 5th grade I used to shit tiny little turds in my pants. Discreetly take out the turd and encapsulate it in my hand. Get up to blow my nose. Then I would put the turd in the tissue and throw it away in the trash can. Teacher then wonders why the classroom stinks and can't find the source. Why did I do this, LMAO? Prob the time I drunkenly invited a brother and sister to indulge me in a threesome, lol. Walked across the Brooklyn Bridge barefoot. When I was a kid I decided that cinnamon looked really delicious. Cause cinnamon was good in other dishes, right? So I decided to take a spoonful of it and try it out. But instead of eating a spoonful of cinnamon I actually ate a spoonful of garlic powder. Who knows why? They both had a red top and I guess I was a dumb kid. Not as nasty as yours, but I was pregnant with my son and having to push, but we were in our car on the way to the hospital. We were in Italy due to military. The hookers were out, so guys were pulling over and blocking the road. I'm trying to get naked. My ex-husband is trying to keep my clothes on. It was hectic and damp, stressful. I'm trying not to yell from the pain. BC, my oldest daughter was in her car seat in the back seat. I'm trying to turn around in my seat to get pressure off my ass. BC, I just know that's where he's coming out at. My asshole. I know it even though I gave birth before and she came out my vagina. My daughter is telling me to assire, which means sit down in Cajun French. Anyway, all of a sudden I feel this bubble come out of my vagina. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like when you're wearing shorts in the water and air gets trapped and it makes its way out. Then the bubble pops and I'm soaking wet from my tits to my knees. My water had just broken. We are still about 5 minutes from the hospital. The front seat of the car was soaked. I was soaked. Get to the hospital and they put me on a gurney and take my pants off and my son's head is almost out. Longest elevator ride of my life. Get to delivery room. I start pushing. There's no bucket under me like there was with my daughter. Looks like they just taped garbage bags to the floor under the delivery table. As I'm pushing, I can feel myself shitting as well, which I know is common. But they are just letting it plop on the floor like some cow. I screamed and pushed, and my son was born. 13 minutes was the length of my labor. I was hemorrhaging. BC, my son was born so quickly. My body wasn't prepared enough. Doc kept stuffing gauze up my vagina to get it to stop. It finally stopped. He told me not to worry about it. I thought he had removed all the gauze. A few days pass, and I'm still in the hospital and my vagina is still sore. I didn't remember it being this sore with my first delivery, but I had an epidural with the first, so I didn't think anything of it. I mentioned it to my ex-husband. He said I was crazy. Tried asking the nurses, but they didn't speak English and damp. I didn't speak Italian and I didn't know where the translator lady was. So I go to the bathroom and stick my fingers in my vagina to see if I can pinpoint where it hurts and maybe feel something. I pull out gauze after gauze after gauze. Was bloody and nasty. Full of blood clots and smelled horrible. I was discharged that day and went straight to the doctor on base to be checked for infections and to make sure everything was okay. They started me on antibiotics just to be case. I never gave birth overseas again. Fuck that. Wiped my ass. Didn't realize the tissue broke then bit my nail before washing my hands. Needless to say, I don't bite my nails anymore mayo. Edit. I was like 14 when this happened lol. It was Christmas Eve. And I think I was 4. Puked in my hands. So I wouldn't get out of bed. BC my parents told me Santa wouldn't come if I get out of bed. Obs they didn't count on me getting sick. I know that is a pretty tame story compared to the rest in this thread. But I still remember holding that puke in my cupped hands for what seemed like a really long time. There's nasty as in people replying they sucked off 3 dicks at the same time like a cartoon character smoking a whole pack of cigarettes at once. And then there is nasty like some people saying they shit their pants so much it filled their shoes. One I can think of that fits both categories is how I was having sex with a girl I met off Twitter who started shitting herself during an orgasm. I didn't know what was happening until I heard "I'm so sorry" and then smelled it. One of the few times in my life I had no idea what to do next. When I was in high school, I was so constipated. A poop as wide as an egg's length was stuck inside of me. I strained and pushed to no avail. And eventually had to stick a lubed up finger inside. Trying desperately to work my way around this monster and crack a chunk off. No dice. I ended up laying in the bathtub with my legs up in the air. Butthole pointed straight at the hot water blasting from the tub faucet. Praying that it would be dislodged. Eventually enough chunks came off that I was able to poop it out. And it felt like dry. Cracked birth. I was doing laundry in a college dorm. I opened a dryer to put my wet clothes in. This girl took it. I went back to my room, cranked one out on a dryer sheet, and threw it in with her clothes. Had Dunkin' before a bus ride to the airport. Big mistake. It was in Shanghai, and I had to take a shit in a tiny trash can on a bus full of people with no restroom. Most traumatizing moment of my life and I think it's the reason I developed IBS. The guy I shit next to handed me a paper towelette and pretended to go to sleep after to give me privacy. I felt so much shame and disgust in that moment. Also, yes, this was last resort. The airport was an hour away and we were in the middle of the highway stuck in traffic. There was a tsunami brewing in my stomach and its only mission was to penetrate out of my asshole. Diarrhea does not give a fuck about who, what, when, where, or why. Also, once the bus finally got to the airport everyone had to pass by my shit on their way out. I was mortified. Thank God it wasn't in America or I would have been on TikTok or Twitter known as the girl who took a fat shit on a bus. No one even paid attention to me, but it was still very traumatizing. Fell into a sewage ravine when I accidentally slipped over the barricade. My mouth was open cause I screamed on my way in. This was during a road trip and had no ability to shower, change or get help. Stuke up the car. Got dirty looks at gas stations. Not recommended. I once took an upper decker in a guy's toilet. Guy was a dickhead, so it was worth it to have him flushing shit and not understanding why lol. When I was in the 5th grade, I was the new kid at this private school that I absolutely did not fit in at all. I had super low confidence and was just dealing with a lot at home. Anyways, I had the flu. Was sitting at my desk in the middle of class. and stifled a puke in my mouth. I was so shy and nervous that I didn't want to cause any additional stress by being the girl that threw up in class, that I held the puke in my mouth and mustered up as much courage as I could and swallowed it. I was truly a mess as a child, and I wish I could go back as myself today and tell her how okay things would turn out. SMH. I was in my teens, way more drunk than I should have been off hard liquor and wound up in the drunk tank. I was dehydrated as FCK and convinced I was NaDi because of it. I was yelling, begging for water, but I must have been lippy earlier because no help came. I ended up drinking out of the toilet. Never told anyone this until now. 8 sour pussy. Can't believe I'm admitting this. I worked for a guy who would have me close out deals with sex. I'd get a small cut of the commission. Could be a blowjob, a lap dance, or something kinky like a spanking. One client wanted me to wear a diaper and give him a blowjob. The nastiest thing I've ever done was shit myself in a diaper and blow a client. Set myself a challenge in my old house to get myself off in every room, including my mum's room and the hallway, which I think I actually completed. Bit blurry at the kitchen, so maybe not IDK. Still the dumbest and nastiest thing I've ever done. Had to shove my hand down a deep sink to remove fish carcasses. Granted, this was for work, but my 19-year-old self will never forget the smell and feel of the experience. Yes, I wore long-sleeved gloves. Sucked off 3 friends and swallowed to loads, and one wanted to come on my face. When I was 9, I shit in a Ziploc bag, zipped it up, and squished it with my hands because curiosity. When I was even younger, I remember running into the living room where my parents were sitting, smoking. I dropped my pants, hands on my knees, spread my cheeks, and shot liquid shit in an impressive spray all over the wall. I was trying to moon them and didn't understand the concept, I guess. I also peed in an old metal coffee can and forgot about it. When I went to go look at it, months later, there was a huge disc of mold floating on top. I didn't know what to do with it, so I poured it through the screen on my bedroom window. Abuse will make you do weird things. Ate another dude's vomit. I was stone cold sober. When I was a kid learning to ski, I begged my parents to let me go pee before a run, but we were already in line for the chairlift. My oldest sister told me, if you have to pee really bad, that means it's only a little bit, so just pee. I trusted her blindly but probably pissed myself for a solid 2 minutes. Filled up and flooded my ski boots. My parents were not happy because it was definitely old enough to know better. I once put Nutella on a pickle for a snack. I took a drink of my friend's Red Bull. Turns out it was his dip spitkin for the day. I fucked a papaya. And no, I'm not going to elaborate. Licked my girlfriend's asshole real quick, but I completely forgot she just had diarrhea earlier that evening and I already convinced her to let me eat her out. Back quote, we all make mistakes in the heat of passion. Jimbo. There's a lot of shit and fart on here. I was asleep on the couch in some ghetto house I was renting while in college and a cockroach crawled inside my ear canal and got stuck inside. I woke up and felt it crawling around inside. Went to the emergency room and the doctor extracted. Felt so violated. Got ear fucked by a roach. Nut, then wipe it off a shirt, then wear that shirt a day or 2 later. I once projectile vomited all over a hotel bathroom once on what was supposed to be a sexy one night stand. I'm talking the mirror, counter, sink, wall etc. It's a miracle I made it to the bathroom at all. I had to get up in the middle of the act to excuse myself, as the nausea came out of nowhere. Then spent the next hour cleaning up my own mess and myself while still naked and reeling while he sat on the hotel bed on his phone. I imagine wondering what the hell happened. I chalked it up to having been bent in half and pounded like he was tucking carpet 5 minutes prior. Know your limit. Stay within it. I double dipped. Stepped on a huge slug barefoot, squished between my toes. It was traumatic. Girl I was dating drove 45 minutes to see me when I was out drinking with some friends. Met her in the parking garage, and after messing around for a few she started to give me head, and I threw up on her head and all over her face and my crotch in the back of her SUV. To make it all worse, it was a Saturday night, and I had to see her at work Monday morning. Ops mom. Obligatory. When I was bulimic, I threw up in a garbage bag. One day I snuck out in the middle of the night to throw it out secretly, and when I realized in the morning it was all gone. I saw my dog looking at me, realized that I needed to stop. One time I wondered if my period blood tasted any different from regular blood. Drank someone else's pee. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like. If you would like to see more content like this in the future, subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified about future videos. Now check out one of these interesting videos.